following is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network. You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on News Talk 580 KMJ and 105.9 The FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Oh, good morning, Central California. I'm your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week. Here on News Talk 580, I think that was kind of like a body spasm when I said that. Each week on News Talk 580 and 105.9
radio,
KMJ.
not TV.
Yeah, radio. It's definitely not made for TV. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy world that we live in and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing. That was just me slicing and dicing two words together. Central Valley's housing and credit and financial markets. You know, within every market there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice.
Are you going to,
No, I wasn't going to impale you. No. I just was making sure that you understood that you need some trusted financial...
Sunday morning, Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
And that's exactly what you're going to hear every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Good morning. Johnny, it's Sunday morning again, isn't it?
Did you see that too? It wasn't just me. Imagine it coming at you.
And we have an attorney in the studio this morning, Kevin Gunner.
Watch out.
Yeah, watch out. But you know what? You can't, I guess you couldn't sue me if you're a material witness. I mean, they can't bring you, I don't know. I have no clue what I'm talking about, so.
Nobody does.
Nobody does
it's
either.
Okay.
It's okay. All right. Again, it's so great to be here Sunday morning with all our friends.
Absolutely. And our new friend.
Lisa Casso.
Good morning.
Client mommy from Valley-Wide Homes. How are you doing? Did you have a good week?
Always. It's been a great week. We're so busy, and I'm so busy with my new...
I'm so busy.
I'm not even going to try.
Don't sing the next three verses of that song. It gets kind of sideways. Johnny B behind the mics. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, great. You know, it is supposed to be a little bit cooler today. So
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Fall? Is it fall?
It is not fall yet. No, but as I mentioned, Thanksgiving is the week after next, and Christmas is 2 weeks later. It is, really.
Funny.
Really.
You had before. I was Johnny can see me computing. Exactly. Wait a minute.
You know, we're also really fortunate. We're going to talk about getting old and just exactly what it takes to grow old graciously. And I don't mean necessarily how we look or how we take care of ourselves, how we pamper ourselves, but when it comes time for making sure that you keep your financial house in order and that you also prepare for the unfortunate turns of life. It might be disability. It might be a long-term illness. We're extremely fortunate to have Kevin Gunner from the law offices of Kevin D. Gunner and Rex A. Haught. Did I say it?
You said that right. Right on it, correct.
Like H-O-T, except
H-O-T, caught, except hot.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Ah, gotcha. We're going to talk about the importance of estate planning. We're going to talk about, and that's kind of a very general topic there. Obviously, if you have stuff, you want to make sure that you protect your stuff. But what happens in the event of a long-term illness? Are you really prepared? And we were talking before we actually came on the air this morning, and when you talk about planning for retirement, you also have to make sure that you've, first and foremost, I'm just going to say this, I don't think we do a very good job, number one. Secondarily, planning for our care in retirement, if there is some sort of long-term illness. And then, unfortunately, at some point in time, it's time, and the big man calls us home, and what happens after that, and what exactly does it look like? And that's why we have our...
So are you trying to tell me Medicare isn't going to take care of me?
You know what? No, I'm not going to, but Kevin is.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Not surprised.
We're really excited to have you in the studio this morning, Kevin. Thanks so much for being here. You know, the Real Estate Radio Network gives us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for 1 full hour each and every week. Again, I'm doing that kind of spasm thing.
You are,
I am.
You're dancing. What did you do last night?
Oh, my gosh.
Is this leftovers?
Whatever it was with my wife. And I tell you what.
No kidding.
She is an amazing lady.
You were dancing, and you keep dancing.
Yeah. Our goal with the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate and financial markets. We're going to tell you some of the financial secrets that the big banks and Wall Street don't want you to hear. So we can help bring you back home. On today's show, the United States is extremely unprepared to meet the housing needs of its aging population. We are getting older, and there was a little over 79 million of those quote-unquote baby boomers born post-World War II. And unfortunately, I don't know where we're going to stick them all. And
them all?
Them all, exactly. And have you planned for retirement? So we just talked about that. Have you planned for retirement? But again, have you planned for your care in your retirement? And I'm going to tell you, and Kevin's going to echo this, most haven't.
Yeah, that's right. And, United States is one of the few countries in the world, actually, that we have this problem. Most countries, Asia, Latin America, they take care of their elders. They're living with their grandmothers and grandfathers. Nice. But here, it's just take it for granted. Well, we're going to, maybe need to warehouse you if something happens. So, that's our country.
Gosh. This is like a conversation with my children.
Exactly, Johnny. He did say warehouse.
Oh, wow.
A nice warehouse.
Yeah, it's a real nice warehouse where a lot of other older folk are at.
Right. Our warehouse.
Our warehouse. Oh, my gosh, I love it. Thanks again for being here. Please make sure you stay tuned. We're also going to take some listener questions. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or a question about something that we talk about this morning, or let's say it's something specific to your world. Let's say you need more information about a reverse mortgage, or let's say that you would like some information about how I could potentially save my home from foreclosure, or the unfortunate, let's say maybe I need some bankruptcy advice. Give us a call anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Take us with you wherever you go, and listen to us as well as all KMJ programming at kmjnow.com. You can also check out our resources online. You can search for your next home. Just go to Valleywide Sells. Find out more information about the company, as well as searching for your next home. It's a free service. Well, let's take a look at today's hot property. Today's hot property is brought to you by Wynn Home Inspections. Our friend Bert Welsh at Wynn Home Inspections will just give him a call today. He'll take care of all your home inspection needs. And I tell you what, if you like him as much as we do, he does a phenomenal job. He's an amazing guy. And again, you want to do business with people that you know and that you like and that you trust. Give Bert a call today for all your residential home inspection needs at 559-363-4080. Again, 559-363-4080. 080, and make sure that you tell Bert that you heard it right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Today's hot property is 3505 North Stanford Avenue. That's Fresno, California, 93727. It's 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square foot investor special, built in 1971. The owner of the property. Mm-hmm. The owners had the property rented for between $1,050 and $1,100 a month, priced at $130,950.
This worked last week.
What's that?
I want this one sold tomorrow morning. Yeah. It worked last week. There was an offer on my desk.
You know what? It did work.
Yeah, so let's do this. Come on, everybody call.
So here's the charge. Lisa wants this property sold. This sounds like the Labor Day telephone. Lisa wants this property sold by 9 a.m. Well, let's give them till noon tomorrow.
That's fine.
Probably, but
before I go home.
Yeah, before you go home.
That would be lovely.
If you'd like to schedule a private showing, or you'd like more information sent to you on your smartphone about this hot property, give us a call, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. And we'll send you more information about this hot property right to your phone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. So this is kind of a big problem that we mentioned. We talked about, as Kevin said, warehousing the seniors. We do. I told
I'm going to get in trouble for that.
We're going to use that all the time now, even when we're not here.
It sounds like some Big Brother, like sci-fi movie where you slide back. Well, just a second, we're right in here, and you slide back the doors.
There's Granny.
There's Granny, and she's not in a rocker anymore.
I was going to make my kids listen to this show, but now I'm not.
Now not so much. Because unfortunately, it would probably give them bad ideas. Huh?
They probably already thought of them.
Right. Well, the U.S., I think you're probably right.
He knows my kids.
Well, America's older population is in the midst of unprecedented growth. But the country is not prepared to meet the housing needs of this aging group, concludes a new report released today by the Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies and AARP. According to Housing America's Older Adults, meeting the needs of an aging population, the number of adults in the U.S. aged 50 and over is expected to grow to 130. Yeah. You see that, Johnny? She actually tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Expected to grow to 132 million by 2030, an increase of more than 70% since 2000. But housing that is affordable and probably a little more importantly, physically accessible. Well, because, I really do. I'm having a hip replaced next June, so that's easily accessible.
It's not funny.
Well, it's going to be great. Dr. Lester, he'll be fine. He's going to do a great job. He said 23 minutes and you're up and walking. And coordinated with supports and services is in far too short supply. So, conversation today, obviously we've got Kevin in the studio. When you talk about the baby boomers, between 1946 and 1964, there were 79.6 million babies born post-World War II. And again, we talked about planning for retirement, but this is just another facet of the ever-growing problem that where are we going to put these folks?
Right, and they're living longer, too. I mean, we have medical advances. People are living longer. But the issue is, quality. Who's going to take care of me if I can't take care of myself? If my family's not there? If my husband, wife isn't around and I need a little bit of help? And then who's going to pay for it? And we've all taken for granted, I think the baby boomers, myself included, that we can take care of ourselves. We're going to spend freely, and now it catches up when we have a medical problem or, just advanced age or Alzheimer's hits. It's a problem.
And living longer means that we're going to be faced with more of those issues that come with aging. It is a fact.
That's exactly right. I mean, we have to have a place to live. We have to be able to afford a place to live. We have to have somebody take care of us, and the government is there, supposed to be there. We hope the government is there. We paid into it all our lives, and that's the big shock too. Is, gee, I hit 65, or I've retired. I've paid into it. Aren't you going to take care of me?
Right.
Hospitals, maybe, and medical. The whole medical profession is changing. But as far as care, just basic care, that's where our society is struggling right now, really struggling.
Well, again, I think it's such a multifaceted a problem. When you look at Social Security was never intended to be your sole means of support during retirement. So, again, the unfortunate thing is folks say, oh, well, when Social Security, you need to get that idea, that thought out of your head. Yeah. That's just one potential issue as far as retirement is concerned. This particular study talks about folks that are retiring, they don't tend to want to move. They like their independence. Yeah. They don't necessarily want to, because really, truly, independence is something that most older folk love to cling to.
And there's a bit of being earned in that as well. I mean, you've lived a life. There's
a certain degree of pride. Right?
Well, yeah, I would think.
Absolutely. I think we all want freedom, independence. Don't want to leave home if we don't have to. But again, our children, grandchildren, they're busy. Unless we have, 20 kids.
Right.
And
okay.
2 or 3 of them. There you go. There's a solution. Repopulate.
Just only 5, but they better. They better not warehouse me, all 5 of them. One of them's got to take me.
Reproduce until you have enough to take care of you. That's what we're saying? What about if there is some sort of disability, and ensuring that the housing is actually capable of not only having someone that will help care for you, but if you're able to be independent and on your own, is the property that you're residing in, is it accessible based upon your needs because you are disabled to a certain degree?
Exactly, and this crosses over. Veterans is a big area, and veterans. Administration has programs, and we've all read about those. Those have a lot to be desired. There are benefits for veterans, disabled veterans, aged veterans to stay at home, but it doesn't offer a lot. It's sort of a supplement, like you say. You have to, and I think the moral lesson that people are learning is if I don't sort of privatize this, if I don't take it upon myself a little bit, I think people are seeing this more. I got to save. I got to plan. The government isn't always going to be there as a backup, and we're seeing that more and more right now.
Here's some disturbing, and I really do mean disturbing numbers. A growing number of seniors are carrying mortgage debt into retirement. How many folks?
What do you do?
Well, how many folks would you estimate? There's some stories or studies that I've read that talk about the Great Depression, this last Great Depression that we just went through, what it did to postpone and, to a certain degree, for quite a few folks, really wipe out everything that they had done to prepare for, let's say, just retirement. If retirement was the only thing that they were preparing for. So they knew that they were going to have Social Security, or at least they anticipated they were going to have Social Security. And then they said, okay, now I've got a small pension, but I also have some other investments that I'm making sure that I contribute to, because I know that there are needs, and my financial advisor has done some projections. And how much do you want to have? Well, here's what we estimate. This is what you would need to contribute. This is after tax, if it's a 401k or a 403b. Here's where you'll be. Right. Many folks, it was wiped out. And then you have folks that are carrying mortgage debt. More than 70% of younger boomers ages 50 to 64, and 40% of those age 65 and older still owing money on their home. It's absolutely wild. Meanwhile, non-housing related debt among the 65-plus crowd climbed from an average of $4,300 in 1992 to $7,200 in 2010, mainly as a result of credit card and auto debt. And that's the next thing. Honestly, I think for those that did not, and granted, call it what you want or what you will, but it might be a very loose correlation. But what about those folks that they're utilizing credit cards, or they're utilizing other, or credit lines, or whatever it might be, or taking a personal loan out because they haven't planned, and they actually need to live. And I have to say, before my mom passed away, she passed away at 70. It'll be 5 years ago this November. She was one of those folks that in the last, I would say, 8 to 10 years, early 60s into to 70, that she had accumulated a tremendous amount of debt to quote-unquote just survive. She actually came to me, I think it was 2006, and said, okay, so here's where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Help, please. And so, being in the mortgage business, we sat down and we actually restructured her debt and made it more palatable. But it still wasn't enough. I mean, realistically, bankruptcy may have been, at that point in time, an even better choice. Yeah, and for what it's worth, Craig, a lot of elders that we see, they have saved. They grew up in the Great Depression. They went through World War II. They saved. They ate dirt clods. And they still save something. But then they get into a situation, and that savings, it may not be huge, but they have to burn through that to keep up, just like you're saying, especially in the medical context, in care situations. So you find that if they've been blessed and they have saved, you really find that in most instances it's usually something medically related. In what we see, I think most of the time where they start going under, they can make it on couple thousand a month because they have no mortgage, but then once you sort of hit the poison pill, then it's a downhill slide. You've got to borrow, you've got to go into debt. The kids probably don't have much you can draw from, so from what we see, I think that's the triggering event. Sure. They have saved. They've lived a modest life. They haven't lived extravagantly, unlike our generation, the baby boomers. Just buy, and do whatever you want. I think we see that as even though they've lived modestly, they have an event that happens, and again, that event usually they haven't worried about because they thought
Medicare will take care of me. Mm-hmm. My pension will be there. And then when those fall off or those, aren't there to save them, then what else can they do?
At the very least today, I would say that the result of our conversation, and this is just really the beginning of the conversation, we're talking about those folks that are older and that are aging as the population ages, and that really we are not prepared for that. Right. So this is just really the tip of the iceberg. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions, or let's say you have a question specific to something that we're talking about this morning, give us a call. We'd love to be a resource. Kevin, we'd love to put you in contact with Kevin. If you'd like to ask Kevin some questions with regards to estate planning, wills, probates, trusts, elder law, just as a very, very general topic, helping you to prepare. Or it might be a situation, as we discussed earlier, that maybe you're going through it because your folks are going through it right at the moment. Give Kevin a call, 559-228-3100. Again, 559-228-3100. Call us anytime here at the show, 800-979-3958. That's our off-air number. Again, 800-979-3958. Take us with you wherever you go and listen to all KMJ programming at kmjnow.com. You can also check out our resources and listen to past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network by going to our website at valleywidesells.com. And again, as we mentioned, when we come back, we are going to continue our conversation with Kevin D. Gunner from the law offices of Kevin D. Gunner and Rex A. Haught. To continue our conversation, are you prepared for a long-term illness? Are you prepared for long-term care? You may have saved for retirement, but did you really prepare? Make sure you stay with us. You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate. Here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
Is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer, at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Men, are you over 40 and experiencing decreased libido, decreased energy, decreased stamina, and decreased muscle mass? Are you just not motivated to get out and live life the way you used to? You might be experiencing the side effects of low testosterone. The treatment is simple, effective, and covered by almost all insurances. Don't let life pass you by. The Testosterone Optimization Program can help reverse the effects of low testosterone and premature aging. Studies have shown that going untreated, low testosterone can actually shorten life expectancy. We don't have to be satisfied with aging the way our fathers aged. Decrease the risks of age-related disease and get on your way to healthy aging. Take charge, take your life back, and call today. 844-TOP-HAT-1. That's 844-867-4281. And stop letting life pass you by. 844-TOP-HAT-1.
Rick Ransom, a local guy, began his career in mortgage lending in 1989. In 91, he became one of the first reverse mortgage lenders in California. Since that time, he's helped hundreds of seniors with reverse mortgages and other senior-related issues. And he's one of the few in this business who is a CPA.
This is Rick Ransom. Much of what you hear on TV and radio is not altogether true. There is misinformation. A reverse mortgage can help you supplement your retirement, pay off your existing mortgage or credit cards, even purchase a new home. If you're ready for a free face-to-face meeting with someone with 45 years experience in the application process, call me at 221-5355. That's 221-5355. I look forward to meeting with you.
DRE number 513201, NMLS number 240770.
When it comes to investing in wealth management, you can find good counsel from someone at a local office or a Wall Street firm. And if you do well, a main office in New York does well. However, we at Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group offer a very different choice. Our associates offer Wall Street experience from an independent, local company. We answer to you, not New York. Thies & Duker's owners, associates, and staff members live right here. We're your neighbors.
I'm Tom Morgan, a financial consultant with Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group. I recently joined Thies & Duker because I wanted to serve my clients in an independent firm that truly values clients, families, and this community. If that's what you're looking for too, give me a call at 448-8190.
Feel right at home at Thies & Duker. Visit us online at thiesandduker.com. ThiesendUker.com.
The consultants at Thies & Duker are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let Craig and his team at Valleywide help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Start the search for your next home by visiting our website at valleywidesells.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, newsflash, this just in. We're all getting older. I know you really didn't want to hear that. You know, I woke up this morning and I sure looked older. I did.
At least you're not a grandma. I'm a grandma.
Oh, yeah. I'm not headed there anytime soon.
I know.
We don't want to go there. We've had that conversation on the
Because I had my children when I was 12.
Yes, exactly. So
just kidding.
We're going to continue our conversation with Kevin Gunner. Kevin, in terms of, we talk about getting older, we talk about preparing for retirement, but oftentimes we don't do, so many of us still don't do a great job of talking about retirement.
Right.
So many of us really just have no clue until, unfortunately, it might be too late to make sure that we plan for the unthinkable. We plan for what happens if.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, we're all procrastinators to one degree or another. I'll do it later.
If the studio had eyes, they could see that I had my hand up.
Well, and particularly in terms of things like this. You don't want to think about it. It's not fun.
Oh, I should do a will. I should do a healthcare directive, in case I don't want to be like Terry Schiavo or one of these that are held, laid up and their families in court fighting about, do we pull the plug, who's in charge?
Sure.
Very easy to fix those things. Yeah, but we just naturally don't think about that. We put it off, and they're very easy. And I think the triggering event, again, if you will, is when it happens to somebody that we know, or it happens to us, then it hits us in the face, and now we're scrambling. Now it's too late. The ship has sailed. What can we do to fix it? If I'd have done it ahead of time, I could have filled out a little form, doesn't cost anything. Now I've got to go to court. Now I've got to, I've fallen into the hole.
And they're asking you, why do I have to go to court? And your response is, because...
that's our only option.
Yeah, we have to get a judge to sign off on the fact that you're going to speak for Mom.
That's right.
And the unfortunate thing is that all could have been prevented with, and again, depending upon what needs to be done, whether it is in terms of estate planning. Estate planning encompasses many, many things, but estate planning, obviously, if you have stuff and you want to ensure that it's not quote-unquote taxation, it's the fees that are allowed to be charged by quote-unquote going to court, getting a trustee appointed, that actually add up and are pretty sizable.
That's right. Yeah, they can be sizable. You hear the evils of probate court, which is, the situation that you're in if a person dies, doesn't have a plan in place, even if they have a plan in place, but it's too simplistic. So those kind of things can be done in advance, or at least look at the options. Some people that don't have too much can make very simple choices to put things in order. The larger the estate or the more complicated. I've got 5 kids, but 4 of them are out of town, and one's going to take care of me. And you get situations that have to be customized. But for starters, like I say, there's a few easy things that can be done that don't cost a lot. And I keep mentioning the Terry Schiavo case, Karen Quinlan. These are cases where we didn't expect to have an accident. Of course I wanted you to pull a plug, or no, I didn't want you. How do we know if you didn't write it down?
Right.
So that's where you're forced into the default of going to court, where you lose a little control, whereas you could have written it yourself and say, here's my plan, here's who I want in charge, here's how I want it to happen.
So real quickly, explain to our listeners, just in real simple detail, the importance of sitting down with you and talking about a will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a good example of a real basic start. Is to and here's a personal example we hear a lot is well, Dad won't come in because he figures the government will take care of it. Or,
You know how many times I really it's funny you say that. How many times I hear something like that? Oh yeah, it's the government's going to take it all, so I don't care. Or which really I think translates into he doesn't want Johnny to have it anyway because he thinks he's a spoiled brat.
That's right. Or of course it'll go to my oldest son. The ranch will go to him. Of course.
Just naturally, of course.
Right. Yeah, he's been working it all these years. Of course he'll get it. No, you got to write it down. And there was a day and an age when a handshake meant a lot more. And
not today.
But we rode on horses, and gold was there was a rush in California, and this was back before the 1900s. So
that's right. And I don't have the magic answer for somebody coming in unless they get information or something up there sparks that action trigger to go do something. Or it happened to my wife. It happened to my disabled son. It happened to my mother. And here I am holding the bag. Why didn't we plan this ahead of time?
And I don't want to say at some point in time it could be too late, but it could be too late to prevent some of the uncomfortableness that you're going to have to experience for going through it because there wasn't planning, and God forbid that it actually cost you money. Let's talk about, so we just mentioned a will. A will is that document that helps to give you a voice when you are no longer able to speak for yourself. Power of attorneys.
Power of attorney does a completely different thing. A power of attorney in general says, I'm still here, I haven't died yet, but I need help.
Yeah.
I'm unconscious, I'm in the hospital. Who's going to carry on my business? Who's going to make decisions for me? Who's going to pay the bills, etc.? Again, very simple concept that we don't think about. Some people have it covered without knowing it. Husband and wife have a joint account. Okay, they can keep going, but you're trying to close a deal. You're trying to carry on business unless you have authority, written authority. That's power of attorney. So the operative word is power. I give you the power
to be my attorney, in fact.
To do the work for me. Again, very simple, straightforward, but you don't have it, you got to go to court, ask the judge to give it to you.
Whatever you don't have, Lisa, you've typically got to go to the judge.
Nice.
So talk about trusts real quick. The importance of a trust, and why is it so important that people create, whether they're revocable or irrevocable trusts? Why the importance?
Yeah. Trusts, especially in states like California, if you boil it all down, all the stuff that you hear about living trusts, it's really sort of an elevated will. It does the same thing. It says, here's who's in charge if I die. Here's who gets everything. But the difference is how it's processed, okay? So will is a good start, but a will has to be processed by court after we die. A trust does not. And the reason kind of is this in a nutshell is with a trust, you're creating, it's not a perfect example, but it's like you're creating a little corporation for yourself. I'm putting my house in the name of my trust. I'm putting my investment. I still own the trust. I haven't lost any control. That's a revocable trust. It's still mine. But when I die, you don't have to go to the judge to get it out of my name. I already did that, and the trust lives on. And so we save court. We save tens of thousands of dollars. Very small estates don't need to worry about trusts. They won't force you into probate if your estate is under, right now it's $150,000 or less, which, if you got a house and a bank account, you're, probably over that.
Sure.
But a trust is designed primarily, all other bells and whistles that you hear about, living trust is designed to take the place of a will to save you from going through probate court, which right now, I love our current judge in probate, by the way. Thanks, Judge.
A little plug for the judge.
But, probates can last a year, 2 years, and cost tens of thousands of dollars. So it's worth avoiding.
Probate, again, for our listeners, is just that process that you're forced to go through when you haven't set any of these guides in place. And the unfortunate thing, you go before a judge, and it takes time, especially if there are folks, let's say you have an evil twin sister that you don't get along with, and you've never gotten along with her, and the unfortunate thing, she must have a voice in court as well, and guess what? It causes problems, folks. And by having that trust in place, guess what? You have the executor that's been appointed, that's in place, that no one can challenge. I mean, I guess every crack smoker gets their day in court, but really when it comes right down to it, they better have more money than the trust, because it might take a while.
That's exactly, because a probate is an open forum. Everybody that's a next of kin will get notified. It doesn't cost them anything to show up in
all
court.
Of a sudden I'm hearing the band playing in the background.
Yeah, so it's a big, the privacy aspect, in my opinion, is one of the, saving money, everybody wants to do that, but the privacy aspect of a trust is really a big selling point, is you don't have an open forum. You want to contest it, you're going to have to go hire somebody and spend money to break into it. So that's pretty big. Yeah, if you have, somebody in the woodwork that's ready to climb out and jump all over you, probate court's right, ready for them. But,
interesting. So again, to kind of recap, let's go back a little bit. We talked about just planning for retirement. That really hasn't entered into the conversation today, because the most important part that we're discussing is, as we're aging, have we created a will? Have we created a power of attorney? Have we created a trust? Because we have stuff that we want to protect in that private, closed forum, and not have it go through probate. So let's take another step forward as far as, let's say you're still here, but unfortunately some event happens. It's a long-term illness. And I have to admit, when my mom and dad were talking about long-term care and having a policy in place that would cover them in the event that there was some sort of illness, because the state, as you had mentioned earlier, the state may not be there to cover you. So planning for that unfortunate event.
You bet.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, I think if you can afford it and you're still in good health, sort of what you're referring to is so-called long-term care insurance. In other words, I thought Medicare was there. No, they're not. Well, if something happens to me, I want a flow of dollars to come in, whether I can stay at home or assisted living or nursing care. I don't have to count on the government, and I can get a higher quality, too. There's only certain places that accept Medi-Cal. Not every place accepts. We call them the chandelier facilities, the really nice ones. They don't take government money.
Right.
They got to take private dollars. So you want it for that. But it's always the issue. It's a balance. Can I afford it? Gosh, I waited till I was 75. Now I want the insurance. Oh, it's too expensive. So I guess the moral of the story: if you can afford it, buy a little bit. When I turned 45, I bought a relatively small long-term care insurance. I wanted to practice what I'm preaching, for one thing.
Right. If somebody ever asked, no, I don't.
But you should.
Yeah.
So I think it's smart. It's a backup. It's dollars that, and you get with a good company, obviously, that's not going to fizzle out when you need it. But but not everybody can afford that. And so, but I think that's your first line of attack, is maybe I should look into that, see if I can buy a little bit. Many people, it's too late, and they can't do that, and that's where we get into the government programs, how those work. If that's all I got, can can I get that? And can I make the most of that?
And in the event that, let's say, you don't have the monies to spend as far as something more private, something more, a little higher quality of care, there are things that the consumer, that our listener needs to do in order to make sure that they prepare for that as well, because you can't, again, have stuff and qualify for those government programs.
Exactly, and so it's a balance of saving, making good investment decisions. I think tucking a little bit away in the rainy day fund for that, which is hard for all of us to do, and or insuring it, if you can afford it and you've done it before your health goes down. And then I think it's a blend to know what those programs are if you still need them. But it's awful hard to save enough money. The average cost of full-time nursing care in California is between $7,000 and $8,000 a month. Who can afford that? And you can get assisted living that's all across the board, probably from $2,500 to $4,500. Trying to stay in home can actually cost more than being in. I have a lady who's got a lot of wealth. We're not really talking to the Howard Hugheses and the Bill Gates, because they've got plenty. They're not worried about this. It's the average folks that have worked hard and saved a little bit. But staying at home, I've got a lady, she's paying $12,000 to $13,000 a month for round-the-clock people just to be there with her.
Wow.
So it's not cheap. And it's a surprise to folks is, hey, I lived a good, clean, I saved a little bit. I thought my insurance, my pension was going to do it. Wow, it's very expensive. It's very hard to finance that. Yeah, and again, if you got a wife, husband that can be there to take care of you, and that's what they call the 36-hour day, because many times their health goes down before the person. Yeah, so that's not a great option.
This is a silly question, really simple though. What's the time? When do you expect people to come visit you? I mean, age-wise.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you're not too young to start with some basics. I've got two daughters in their 20s, and of course, again, practice what you preach. They've got some of the basics, but Lord willing, they're not going to need it for 50 years.
Right.
But some of them are so easy and inexpensive, like the healthcare directive. If I have an accident, who do I pick to speak for me? Well, my wife, obviously. Well, it's not obvious unless you write it down. What are my wishes? Do I want you to, freeze my head, or do I want you to pull the plug? So all kidding aside, it's
do they do that at that warehouse that they put all the old folks at? No. Oh, come on! I was hoping. So I think the moral, and again, this isn't the end of the conversation. I think the moral of the story is it's so important to have a trusted advisor, to have that someone that you can call on to first and foremost sit down and have the conversation. And also for you to be able to get somewhat of a GPS as to where they're at.
Right.
In other words, how old are they? What do they have in place as far as retirement's concerned? What do they have as far as do they have a will? I share some of the most amazing failures that have come from my life when it comes time for, my wife has said, 4 years. I need to have a will that specifies certain things with regards to her kids, my stepchildren, in the event that she were to pass. And
this is a great point, too, and this is a shock to people, children of other marriages or children that are included or not included. California has some very generous laws for foster children, stepchildren. They're included just like your own natural children, unless you say otherwise. So there's some traps, for the unwary that can pop up. And again, the name of the game is write it down. Write it down so somebody else isn't deciding for you, which might not be the right answer.
And that's why it's so important, again, to have you as their advisor, because they need to sit down, have that conversation. You need to figure out where they are at. And then you're able to make some suggestions as to, okay, based upon your budget, here's some of the things that I would suggest that you do first. Power of attorney. Maybe you don't have a bunch of assets, and maybe a trust isn't necessarily appropriate. So then we begin to transition and look at, what about long-term care, and what are some of the options there? And my gosh, the conversation could be kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
But a good conversation to have.
Right, it can. Yeah, and it's not only dollars, it's options, and it's just knowing what the playing field is. And I hate to say it, and I won't be too negative, but there are those out there that prey on the elderly and get them into bad investments or give them the wrong advice. And I think they need independent, not to plug attorneys too much, so they plug themselves plenty without it, but to have an independent advisor, I think, is valuable. If nothing else, just a consultation to say, well, yeah, that's one option, but here's 3 or 4 others. You make the decision what makes sense for you.
Absolutely. It all starts with one call. We say that here on the Real Estate Radio Network. It really does truly all start with one call. Give Kevin a call today. If you have questions with regards to estate planning, with regards to wills, with regards to trusts, power of attorneys, let's say it's probate. Let's say, unfortunately, that you've had the P word repeated to you because, unfortunately, someone is or has passed, and you need some real timely advice. Or let's say you're 50, like myself, and you'd like to get a handle on, so what happens if there is something cataclysmic? Let's say it's a disability, some sort of injury, unfortunately, maybe some sort of long-term illness. I've got the life insurance piece, I think, fairly under control, but I don't have, but that's in the event that I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned to my wife, I think I'm worth far more to you gone than I am.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And sometimes people stop at that point as, I've got a nice insurance policy, you should be fine. And that is a good start. That is a good start. But sometimes structuring it right, for example, if children are too young or they've got a handicap, are you going to hand an 18-year-old, couple $100,000 because,
absolutely not.
They're the ones?
Should I tell you how I really feel? So if you have questions with regards to whether it's estate planning, whether it's long-term care, or really just in general, what your landscape looks like, give Kevin a call today. The law offices of Kevin D. Gunner and Rex A. Haught. Again, 559-228-3100. Again, 559-228-3100. Kevin, thanks so much for getting up this early and being here with us on this Sunday. Really do appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Love having you in the conversation. Again, Lisa, it's so important having those trusted advisors on our panel that we can actually refer clients to. It's so important. One of the things that you and I continually talk about is just how blessed we've been to be educated through the process of just having this show. It has been overwhelming. I mean, it really has, and it's a phenomenal thing that we've been very fortunate to be a part of. So, again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions about the information that we share with you on our show today, give us a call anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Take us with you wherever you go and listen to us on your smartphone, as well as all the KMJ programs at kmjnow.com. You can go to our website and search for your next home. Just go to valleywidesells.com. Well, coming up, James from Clovis asks, my wife and I are wanting to purchase a home, and the seller has included some personal property with the sale. Can we finance that with our new loan? When we return, we're going to take some listener questions. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate. Here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Men are Are you over 40 and experiencing decreased libido, decreased energy, decreased stamina, and decreased muscle mass? Are you just not motivated to get out and live life the way you used to? You might be experiencing the side effects of low testosterone. The treatment is simple, effective, and covered by almost all insurances. Don't let life pass you by. The Testosterone Optimization Program can help reverse the effects of low testosterone and premature aging. Studies have shown that going untreated, low testosterone can actually shorten life expectancy. We don't have to be satisfied with aging the way our fathers aged. Decrease the risks of age-related disease and get on your way to healthy aging. Take charge, take your life back, and call today. 844-TOP-HAT-1. That's 844-867-4281. And stop letting life pass you by. 844-TOP-HAT-1.
Rick Ransom, a local guy, began his career in mortgage lending in 1989. In 91, he became one of the first reverse mortgage lenders in California. Since that time, he's helped hundreds of seniors with reverse mortgages and other senior-related issues. And he's one of the few in this business who is a CPA.
This is Rick Ransom. Much of what you hear on TV and radio is not altogether true. There is misinformation. A reverse mortgage can help you supplement your retirement, pay off your existing mortgage or credit cards, even purchase a new home. If you're ready for a free face-to-face meeting with someone with 45 years experience in the application process, call me at 221-5355. That's 221-5355. I look forward to meeting with you.
DRE number 513201, NMLS number 240770.
When it comes to investing and wealth management, you can find good counsel from someone at a local office for a Wall Street firm. And if you do well, a main office in New York does well. However, we at Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group offer a very different choice. Our associates offer Wall Street experience from an independent, local company. We answer to you, not New York. Thies & Duker's owners, associates, and staff members live right here. We're your neighbors.
I'm Tom Morgan, a financial consultant with Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group. I recently joined Thies & Duker because I wanted to serve my clients in an independent firm that truly values clients, families, and this community. If that's what you're looking for too, give me a call at 448-8190.
Feel right at home at Thies & Duker. Visit us online at thiesandduker.com. THIESENDUEKER.com.
The consultants at Thies & Duker are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let Craig and his team at Valleywide help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Start the search for your next home by visiting our website at valleywidesells.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, James from Clovis asks, my wife and I are wanting to purchase a home, and the seller has included some personal property. Well, do tell. No.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Can we finance the personal property in our loan? And you know what, James? You know, when we actually write the California Association of Realtors contract, or even let's take it a step back, even when the property is listed, if there is any personal property, when the home is originally listed, if there is any personal property included in the sale, it would be nice that it's listed on the actual multiple listing. Secondarily, if, let's say, there is something that you would like the seller to include in the sale, by all means, you can ask for everything. Mm-hmm. Everything is really, truly subject to negotiation.
Including the red couch in the
absolutely,
middle of the
red
room?
Couch. It could stay. It might look really well with the home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really could. So the unfortunate thing is so everything is up for negotiation. The unfortunate part is everything must be included at no value. And the reason being is that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the Federal Housing Administration, USDA, they all don't make loans on personal property. It's strictly real estate. So it can be included at no value, but you can't finance it in your
Well, you
own.
can go knock on the door after you leave and sign the contract and say, "Can I please have that couch? I'll give you $50 for it."
Absolutely,
Something
you can
like
do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm here for you.
And by the
people
way,
want the red
who
couch.
are you? They haven't really got to know you yet. And, Frank from Hanford asks, I'm in contract on a home, and it was just disclosed to my agent that the city of Hanford is requiring the seller to repair damage to the sidewalk that was caused by a tree that the seller actually planted. The seller is saying, nope, not going to do it. Can he really do that? So first thing is, as we were trying to help Frank recreate the crime scene, and no pun intended, it was very fun. Come to find out, there was originally a letter that was sent out by the city of Hanford that had told the seller, you need to, because of the damage and what it had done to the sidewalk, you're responsible for repairing it. If you, we put you on notice, and if you choose not to at some point in time, we will go ahead and take it upon ourselves to fix it at our expense, and then we will bill you and lien the property. So on the transfer disclosure statement, and I joke wholeheartedly, is really that disclosure that the seller prepares, not the listing agent, that the seller is responsible for preparing, that states what comes with the house. In other words, are there any things that you need to disclose as far as the house is concerned? Did someone pass in the property in the last 3 years? Well, guess what? They said, city to fix sidewalk. Okay, that was a very, what did that imply, Johnny? That city's going to fix the sidewalk. It didn't, there was no disclosure with regards to who was going to pay for it. I told Frank, your agent and I need to talk, because somebody needs to light the listing agent on fire, because he needs to understand that is not considered full disclosure. That's haphazard, honestly, and that's a lack of disclosure. So you didn't do a very good job. Now keep in mind who completed the form. It is the seller that's supposed to complete it. The seller needs to understand that they are responsible, as well as the listing agent needs to make sure that the seller understands you need to complete it in its entirety. You must disclose what they are going to do, who is responsible for it, period. End of discussion. However, though, everything is up for negotiation. Right. You have to take into the dynamics of the market and so on and so forth. So, was it disclosed? Almost, kind of, maybe.
Indirectly?
Yeah, exactly. My next question was, hey, how much was the seller netting? Well, guess what? Sellers decided that they don't really want to make a big deal about it. They're going to go ahead and take care of it.
Good plan.
So, Frank, good job, buddy. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that we share with you on our show, give us a call, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Go to our website. Check out our resources. Go to valleywidesells.com and search for your next home. A big thank you to Kevin Gunner. Kevin, thanks so much for getting up with us this morning. If you've got questions about estate planning, wills, trusts, power of attorneys, or let's say long-term care, or really you just like to talk with a trusted professional to figure out where you're at and what your options are, give Kevin a call today. 559-228-3100. Again, 559-228-3100. Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market. We are going to tell you some secrets that the big banks in Wall Street don't want you to hear, so we can help bring you back home. Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Make it a great day, Central California, and we will see you next week.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info.